Hello, my name's Barry. Welcome to a review of Silencing of the Lambs by Dr. Michael Brown. Yeah, this one is written by Dr. Michael Brown. This is not the psychological horror novel that you might be thinking of with that title. Oh, good grief. No, but it is a bit of a psychodrama anyway. So what is this book about? And why would the guy that's running a channel called Christianity Explained, be reviewing such an intriguing book? Well, it's not a psychological horror novel, okay? I'm having a little fun with it. But that's where the end is. Here's what it's about. Have you ever heard of something called cancel culture? Yeah, that's what Dr. Brown had in mind when writing this book. The first half of the book is about documenting what's been going on with the pressure that we have in American culture to cancel out dissenting voices, to stand up, especially not just against Christians, but even people like Barry Weiss, who is not a Christian. She's actually a liberal who happens to be bisexual, and she's fighting against this insanity of cancel culture. You got all kinds of people you wouldn't expect. And I appreciate Dr. Brown starting off with that fact. You're not alone, folks. We're not some isolated thing. It's just that. No, there are others who are fighting it. In fact, towards later on in the video, I'm going to tell you a hint of a video that I came across you'll want to watch later. I'll tell you a little more later because I want you to stick with this. Second, Dr. Brown did a wonderful job in the first part breaking down some of the components. I appreciated his taking the time to talk about what's happening in the social media sector, how the pressure is being put on people, parents, and all these other things. I appreciate that. But here's something worth noting. I was actually thinking in terms of Jonathan Cahn's Return of the God book. And there is a comparison that I will make. Jonathan Cahn was very heavy, and it seemed like no hope. That's how I felt when I read that. It was like, ugh. But here, okay, Dr. Brown does not make light of this. He's very serious, and in fact, he's one of the people fighting against this thing. And he does share how. And it starts with an old school method. You stand up to the bullies. You don't give them an opportunity. You stand up to them and say no. And that, because guess what? That's how bullies work, with fear and intimidation. And that's why I didn't have too many problems with the bullies in my school, because I had no problem. My problem was I was giving them what they wanted was entertainment. There are better ways to do this. And I appreciate how Dr. Brown does this later in the second book. Part of the book, I mean. Now, another nice thing I liked that was really appreciated, and I liked this book, Silencing the Lambs, even more than the Cahn's book, and that's this. He actually provides hope. He roots answers in the scripture, and he shares stories of people standing up to the bullies and thugs that he's talking about in the book. And I know Dr. Brown was focused on one group, but the reality is they're not the only ones who do this. So it's important for Christians to rise up. He also does something else. and it might surprise some evangelicals, he gives out a call to the evangelists because they're the ones who are supposed to have the fire for evangelism. You have a great opportunity, and he's right. Evangelists, rise up, be bold, be courageous, share the good news of Christ, share the full gospel. People need that, and then also need an equipping. I love how Dr. Brown shared some stories of people who did just that. See, that's what I mean, why I liked it. And he does give words of encouragement and help the parents. Now, unlike me, Dr. Brown does have children, and he has grandchildren. And I think he has some great grandkids, too. And he emphasized the importance that he tells parents, hey, you have a role to play. You have a voice. You have the power to do that. You're the last line of defense. One of the methods is talking with your kids, not at them, but with them. And listen, why is that important? So that they know, wow, I can talk to my parents. And that in itself destroys the lies the enemy is using through its agent to get kids not to listen. They tell the kids, oh, your parents don't care. They're not going to. Well, if mom and dad are saying, hey, let's talk. Listen, let's share. And just be that. Guess what? That flag, boom, on the lie. See, that's what that does. Here's another thing. Sharing principles and ideas in Scripture in daily life. But he also points out, it makes a mistake. It's okay. You don't have to watch over it. It's almost impossible. But talk with the kids about what they're seeing. Sounds like some of the things I've said. And Dr. Brown's a little more gentle than I am. And by the way, I'm going to throw this one. It sounds a little bit out of sync, but consider this. Dr. Brown had people protesting him. If you've seen him on his show, Ask Dr. Brown, you would see a kind, gentle man, elderly man, Jewish, of Jewish descent, all that. I'm looking at him, I'm like, Dr. Brown, you got to be kidding me. You do not look intimidating. They're scared of you? Yeah, they're scared of him. And he's not exactly Hulk Hogan or somebody who looked like he would stand up in a fight in his younger days. But yet he is being bold. So are other people. Be not afraid. And yet, I told you there was a video I'm going to share that might give you some encouragement. Because the enemy, the devil, is operating through these people, and they want you to believe that it's a losing battle. I have a word for that. It is probably the most powerful words you're ever going to hear. And it is true. It tells you what the quality of their lie is. But, and back, I'll reference it at the end of the video. It's something that Tim Pool shared. Yeah, he's not a Christian. He had friends who were Christian, yeah, and he may be open. But guess what? He also is a big-time YouTube influencer. And he did something interesting. He goes to a park, do skateboarding with a young lady, all this. He's told, oh, no, be afraid. And he goes, no, I am not going to be afraid. And guess what? All the scare and all the fear never happened. Yeah. See, there was a lot of smoke and mirror, but no truth. And of course, Tim probably did take some precaution, I'm sure. He doesn't strike me as stupid. But see, that's the good news. And I will show you the video at the end, so stick to the end. And I appreciate it. And there's something else. Dr. Brown also emphasized the importance of prayer. Prayer, unlike people like Tim Pool and all these other people, as Christians, we have the ability to go to the Lord and pray and intercede for those who are standing up, to intercede for our children, to intercede for those in need. That's not a light thing. That's like putting a nuke on the enemy's plan. I'm that serious. It's that powerful. It's like sending in the Marines. It is that powerful. It's all because of our relationship with Jesus and what Jesus did for us. And it's important that we understand that. We can come boldly before the throne of grace and ask the Father for things that are important. We can ask for the boldness. And I pray that God will give us the boldness to stand up to these things. And yes, it is difficult. And yes, there is an element of danger. It's not quite the same as what others have gone through in the past, but guess what? God hasn't abandoned us. He is for us and with us. There's no need to be. Here's the other thing. He does go on the importance of spending time in the Word and spend time with intercession, all those things. Also, it's important that we share, stand up, and not be. There are a lot of ways to do things, and he really does give some great ideas. I love this book, seriously. And I would encourage some people. All right. And by the way, that is a good way to give a taste, the enemy a taste of psychological horror, because they will be more afraid of Christians who stand up than we should be of them. All right. Thank you for your time. I hope this is encouragement, and I hope you look into the book. It really is good and worth reading. Have a blessed day. See you when I see you.